Imagine an extra $1,500 landing in your account every single month. Not from a job, not from a side hustle, not from selling anything. Just paid to you, quietly, for owning shares. That's $18,000 a year, arriving whether you work or not. Enough to cover the rent for a lot of people, or the mortgage, or simply never stress about a bill again. And here's the thing, this isn't a fantasy, and it isn't only for the wealthy. It's a genuine, buildable goal, with a clear number and a clear plan. But I'm going to be completely honest with you today, the way most finance channels won't. I'll show you the real capital it takes, I won't sugarcoat it, and then I'll show you the exact step-by-step plan to build it at a pace that you control. By the end, you'll know your target number, how many years it'll take you, and the simple engine that gets you there. So grab a cuppa. Let's build your $1,500 a month. First, let's turn the dream into a hard number. $1,500 a month is $18,000 a year in dividends. To know how much you need invested, we just work backwards from the dividend yield. The yield is simply the income a share pays as a percentage of its price. Historically, the Australian share market has paid a cash yield of around 4 to 4.5%. So let's plan with a sensible 4% to start. To earn $18,000 a year at a 4% yield, you'd need around $450,000 invested. Now take a breath, because I know that number can feel enormous. Stay with me. It gets much more manageable. And before we go on, just picture what that income actually buys you. $1,500 a month could cover most people's groceries and power bills, forever. It could pay for a family holiday every year without touching your savings. Or it could simply mean that if you lost your job tomorrow, you would not panic. That's what we're really building here. Not just a number, a layer of freedom under your feet. And I promised honesty, so here's the current reality. Right now, in 2026, the market's yield has actually dipped to around 3.5%. Outside of COVID, that's the lowest in about 50 years. At that lower yield, your target creeps up closer to $515,000. But there's good news that pulls it back down, and we'll get to that. Two things, actually. Franking and a smarter mix. Because here's the reframe that changes everything. That $450,000 is not a wall you have to somehow leap over. It's simply a destination, and you reach it one regular investment at a time. The real question isn't, where do I magically find 450 grand? It's, how much can I invest each month, and how many years until I arrive? And that, you absolutely control. So let's look at the actual timelines. These assume your money grows at around 8% a year, with all dividends reinvested along the way, which is deliberately conservative, since the Aussie market has historically done a fair bit better over the long run. If you invest $500 a month, you reach that target in around 24 years. If you invest $1,000 a month, it comes down to about 17 years. At $1,500 a month, you're there in roughly 14 years. And at $2,000 a month, a little under 12 years. Look at what just happened there. The number didn't change. Only your monthly commitment did. Your timeline is a dial, and your hand is on it. Even starting small and increasing later dramatically bends that curve in your favor. So how do you actually invest that money? Let's build the engine in 3 simple layers. And a quick, important note. Everything I name here is an example to explain the idea, not a recommendation to buy. Layer 1 is your foundation, a broad, low-cost index fund. Something like VAS or A200, which hold the biggest 200 to 300 companies on the market in one go. This gives you instant diversification and a solid, reliable base of dividends for a tiny fee. Layer 2 adds an income tilt to lift your overall yield. A high dividend fund like VHY deliberately leans toward companies paying larger, fully franked dividends. This is the lever that can nudge your yield from 4% up toward 5%, which shrinks your target. And Layer 3, once you're confident, is a small slice of individual blue-chip payers. The big banks like Commonwealth Bank or Westpac. A major miner like BHP. These are famous for large, fully franked dividends, and owning them directly sends every franking credit straight to you. Keep that individual slice modest, though. The ETFs are your safety. The shares are the seasoning, not the meal. Now, the secret weapon that does the heavy lifting while you build, the dividend snowball. While you're growing your pot, you do not take the dividends as cash. Not yet. You switch on a dividend reinvestment plan, a DRP. Every dividend you're paid automatically buys you more shares, often with zero brokerage. So your shares pay dividends. Those dividends buy more shares, which pay their own dividends, which buy even more. Early on, it feels painfully slow, and I won't pretend otherwise. But give it a decade, and that snowball turns into an avalanche. This is compounding, working silently for you, on every single distribution. It's the difference between crawling to your target and being carried there. Let's talk about the accelerators, because a few small moves can shave years off your plan. First, and most powerful, increase your contributions over time. That $200 a month you start with can become $400 after a pay rise, without you feeling poorer. Every extra dollar invested early is a dollar compounding for decades. Second, put the Australian secret weapon to work, franking credits. When you receive a fully franked dividend, it comes with a credit for the company tax already paid. A $70 dividend is treated as if it were $100 with a $30 credit attached. If your tax rate is below 30%, you get the difference back. If you pay no tax, you can get the whole credit as cash. That effectively lifts your real yield, which means you need less capital than the raw 4% suggests. Third, simply stay invested and let time do what time does. It is your single greatest asset. Now let's be realistic about the journey, because the middle is where people quit. For the first few years, honestly, it will feel like almost nothing is happening. Your balance grows slowly, the dividends are small, and it's easy to lose heart. This is completely normal, and it is the exact moment most people give up. Don't be most people, because somewhere around the halfway mark, something shifts. Let me make that real. Say you're steadily building toward your target. In the early years, almost all the growth comes from the cash you personally add. But once your balance passes roughly 200,000, your dividends and growth alone can add tens of thousands a year, on their own. At that point, your portfolio is quietly out-contributing you, without you lifting a finger. The growth from your investments starts to rival, and then overtake, the money you're putting in yourself. Your pot begins doing more of the work than you are. That's the tipping point. And from there, the final stretch to your target is faster and far more exciting than the start. Push through the boring middle, and the maths starts working for you, not against you. And then comes the best day, the day you finally hit your number. This is when you get to flip the switch. You turn the dividend reinvestment plan off, and instead of buying more shares, those dividends now land in your bank account as cash. Roughly $1,500 a month, arriving for you to actually live on. Your capital stays fully intact, still working, still paying you, potentially for the rest of your life. You didn't sell a thing. You simply built the tree, and now you get to enjoy the fruit. And unlike a pension or a paycheck, nobody can take this away from you. It's yours, it's paid for, and it keeps arriving month after month. Before you go, let's be honest about the risks, because a good plan respects them. Dividends are not guaranteed. A company can cut its payment in a tough year, and your income can dip with it. The Australian market also leans heavily on banks and miners for its dividends. So a portfolio of income shares is less diversified than it looks. Keep that broad ETF base solid, and never chase the highest yield you can find. A stock screaming a 9% yield is often a warning, not a gift. Plan for the bumps. Keep a cash buffer, stay diversified, and your income can ride them out. So there it is, your target number, your timeline set by you, and the engine to get you there. $1,500 a month is not a dream reserved for the rich. It's just a series of steady, patient decisions, starting with the very next one you make. If this gave you a real number and a real plan, do me a favor and subscribe. We break down the honest Australian money numbers, one video at a time. No hype, no nonsense. Your plan doesn't start one day. It starts today. Quick reminder before you go. This is general information only. not personal financial advice. The funds and shares I mentioned were examples to explain the idea, not recommendations to buy. Yields, returns, and tax rules change. Dividends can be cut, and these timelines are illustrative, not promises. So do your own research, run your own numbers, and build the plan that's right for you.